Now we're good to go. All right. So did everyone get a copy of the agenda? Let's just go ahead and get started. Oh, Jim told me he's gonna zoom in. I don't know where he is. I expect him. Robin said she was gonna try, but she's in the middle of moving. I did not hear from Kristen or Tricia. Remind them, so. All right, copy of the minutes from April 16. Are there comments or questions, corrections? Not, do I have a motion to approve?
Do you have enough people?
Actually, you know what, without Jim here, Rudy's here in the room. So we have 4 members. We'll wait, let's save that until Jim, I was expecting him, so I'd already counted him. So we'll see if he logs in a little bit. We'll table that until after. I'll just quickly go through a few updates of what I've been up to this month. Actually, so for the new homeowner mailings, there were 6 in April, and last month I had reported 3, but I had captured a couple of the late April. So 6 in April, and the 2 condos that had sold were actually in this month. Interesting, one went for 600,000 and one went for 465,000. So that continues, those continue to rise, which is challenging. The new quarterly newsletter is, we're hoping to get to the printer tomorrow so that it'll be in mailboxes by June 1st. Went well, had some great articles submitted, so watch your mailboxes for those. The Arts Council continues to do their work and continues to meet. We have, well, we'll talk a little bit, you know, that there was the partnership with the Restaurant Week, which we're going to talk about later in the agenda, but there is an event fundraiser for the Arts Council that is being sponsored by Fran and the Hickory Stick. That is at Judy Black this Friday. So you can check out more online. There was an announcement in the selectmen's email. So if anybody wants to find out more about that, or we can ask Fran at the end. Affordable housing. So, just FYI for everyone, the budget did pass on Thursday, so that's exciting. Nothing was changed or cut, and so we did have $250,000 go into the Affordable Housing Fund through 3 different votes because of the sale of the property and such. So that is exciting, and the 30 acres that were donated to the Housing Trust it closed in April. So the Housing Commission is working with the Housing Trust to start looking at, you know, what is feasible there and what the community is looking for. And is co-hosting a home dedication ceremony June 29th. I think it's the 29th with Habitat for Humanity. So watch for notices for that. Everybody is invited to those. Oh yeah, Julia, I see you nodding. I need to get you that flyer. It's not on the event calendar yet. Sustainability.
Does the state put money into that too?
Into Habitat?
Yeah, no, the affordable housing program.
So the state, yes, the Department of Housing puts a lot of money into affordable housing, but you have to apply for the grants. And some of it comes like, so the CDBG, the Community Development Block Grant, is a grant that is actually federal housing money that comes through the Department of Housing. So it's administered by the state. We've applied for those. And there's state money in all of the affordable housing that we have here that the Housing Trust has done. But it's you have to jump through a lot of hoops. Those are lengthy applications, but yeah.
Can you believe it?
Yeah. You have to really work hard to get it. Oh, sustainability. So great month last month for sustainability. The Earth Day events went really well. Hopefully you all got your Earth Day newsletter in your mailboxes that was put together by the Sustainability Committee. Sustainability Committee was also at the Garden Palooza on Judy Black last Saturday, and that was also very well attended, so good work continuing there. Let's see, May 8th, I went to a conversation with Dan O'Keefe, who is the Commissioner of Economic and Community Development for the state. He's new, and there were just a couple of things he said that I just wanted to share with the committee. He said that pre-COVID, Connecticut was 48th in economic performance in the country, and post-COVID, we're now 15th. So huge gains. Yeah, right? I know. You can find, they have these amazing reports on the DECD, Department of Economic and Community Development website, where they have a lot of these statistics, and they put them together in a packet for promoting Connecticut to the outside, to people thinking of relocating here. So there are some good stats there. He felt that, he said that investing in our future requires optimism and that our future is brighter. So, you know, the budget has improved and things are looking good for Connecticut. So feels we have some really strong momentum. Two challenges that he sees in the future are higher energy prices. He was talking about the demand of AI and the fact that the increased demand for electricity, the supply is not keeping up with the demand. So that's going to be some real challenges in the future, which Wayne, I know your microgrid is, this makes that even more relevant. And so it's something that Wayne has been very interested in.
My
Did you
job to be at the front of the curve.
I know. Good job, Wayne. Workforce housing. Housing was the other challenge that he identified for Connecticut. We have a great workforce and industry, but not a lot of places for those people to move to. So he had a lot of other great things to say. He's a very interesting man. He comes from private industry and very smart. And I'm looking forward to, I hope he stays for a while, because I think some great things will happen. The other thing quickly that I forgot to put on there, that last week I went to the conversation with Rachel Lunda, who's the Director of Tourism, and Ellen Wolf, who's the Brand Director for the state. They're on a listening tour and they came to Litchfield. And there were a bunch of us that attended that, and they put together information on how to engage with CT Visit, which Julia, I'll share this with you.
Yeah,
You
we went yesterday, actually. I think it was yesterday in our town. So,
You and who?
but no, Zoltan and I attended that yesterday, but not in Litchfield. They did it all over the state.
Yeah,
And
it's like 8 of them or
yeah,
something.
but let's share, yeah, afterwards. That would be
I
great.
mean, the thing is, you do all of this already, but they are changing some of their marketing and the hashtag that they want us to tie into so that, so yeah, so we can just tweak things a little bit, and I'm sure you'll talk a little bit about that when you do your presentation, but it was interesting. I don't know which one you went to, but it was great. Steph Burr from the Northwest Arts Council was there, and there have been some challenges with us here in the Northwest corner trying to really engage with CT Visit, because it seems geared towards the bigger cities down on the shore, and they don't really get the Northwest corner. And we're in the Western Tourism District. That's our funding, but it's the board and their efforts are pretty heavy on, you know, the Beardsley Zoo and all the things happening down on the shore. I will say though, Washington is really well represented, and I feel a little embarrassed sometimes. Julia does such a good job, because if you go to Litchfield Hills, maybe even Western CT, but definitely Litchfield Hills, there's like 8 attractions, and Washington's like 4 or 5 of them. Like the town is there, the Indian Institute is there, Mayflower's there, something on like Warmuck, anyway. So we're well represented, but as a region, trying to just get them to understand the Litchfield Hills has been a challenge. And then the last thing, summer postcard, yay, just got delivered to my office this morning. I'll be talking to you. So this is going in all the mailboxes tomorrow. And then we have I forget, like 1,500 extra that we print that we take around. I leave some around town in our shops and coffee houses, but also we try to deliver some of these out of town. We brought them up to the state park last summer, I think you did that, the Warren General Store, Roxbury Market, a couple of others. So we'll talk about how to distribute these, as a committee. I mean, if you guys have anywhere that you go, I mean, you aren't here, so it's hard for you to pick them up, but.
You have a Litchfield, like a direct Litchfield drop off?
So I have once put them in the kiosk on the Litchfield Green. I didn't get any feedback. I guess I could try to get permission to do that. I don't know what the rules are about that, but.
I would think.
I
you
would
want
ask
traffic
permission.
through
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would guess,
Yeah.
guess,
there. There's
so,
all the restaurants that, you know, where the jail is.
yeah,
They go
yeah.
Across the
Oh,
green.
yeah, people walk on the
Yeah.
green, well, and they've got that little kiosk welcome center. I've never seen anybody in there, but they
I
have,
know Litchfield Community Center is another good place.
okay, let's write that down. Okay.
There's a lot of events there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably gets a lot of visibility.
Right, so I'll contact them and let them, and see if they'll let us put a postcard there. So we'll work on that, between now, now and June, because the postcard, the events, we started with the Memorial Day parade and we go, but in June and July are, well, in August, we have a lot going on. Speaking of that, just so you know, so we did our first postcard in 2021 with 13 events. 2022, we had 19, 2023, we had 29, and this year we had 35 listings on our postcard. So, kudos to Julia and her team, as well as the Arts Council and everybody who's been emailing me, trying to get on the postcard. People, it's on their radar now. People want on there.
You have to
Some-
enlarge the postcard.
Well, I know the font got a little small this year and I, right, Julia? I'm like,
That's
oh,
right.
I almost need my reading glasses, but I do think that I'm so thrilled that it took off and people want to participate. You know, what elevates itself, what's a large enough event to be on the postcard is something that came up a couple of times where people wanted on and it, it just didn't feel like it was a community-wide type event. So we'll, it's a conversation for the future. It's a good problem to have.
Who
So
does make that call? Is there a,
I do.
you do?
Julia. I mean, we haven't really, it hasn't been an issue, but we just have sort of a general idea of, it needs to be community wide. We have an events calendar on our Explorer website that any nonprofit organization in town, if it's an open event, can post their events.
Nonprofit.
So you just have a QR code, then they can,
Yep,
and then the QR code can take them to.
takes them back to
take them back
Explorer.
to Explorer.
Yes, we
Yeah.
put it on everything. The QR code's on the newsletter,
Yeah.
it's on the sign out in the depot, it's on the card, it's on our guidebooks.
Does that events calendar, do you have it, does everyone, different organizations, nonprofit service, all feed into it?
Yes.
And who maintains it?
Julia.
Thanks, Julia.
Welcome.
But we're-
Our pleasure.
You know what? I think that's a great segue because she's gonna share her screen. You'll be able to see kind of.
Okay,
the-
sure, yeah. But a couple of things I did want to mention about the postcard. I was in Liz's shop a couple of months ago and she had a really good idea and maybe this is something we can do in the future. She was wondering if the postcard could fit in the, the passport, what we call the Explore book. But the postcard is bigger than the book. But it was a nice idea to sort of have notches in the back of that book so that in the summertime, those books are everywhere around town and they could just sort of put the postcard in the notches so that someone has everything there.
Right.
But the challenge, of course, is the size of the postcard, and especially now that there are so many events. But maybe down the road, it's folded or something. Just something to throw out there for the future as we grow the card.
There is a page in there that has the townwide event, like just in generic terms, of things that usually happen like in the fall and the spring,
Mhm.
etc. But this one is the specific dates and times. So that is, that's a good idea. I wonder, maybe
Can you
Who wants
perforate
to
and
fold
make
it
that postcard?
and put them all in there?
Yeah, fold it.
I would rather just drop it off in all the places we have the passport, right? 'Cause
Right,
I-
so it could be side by side.
All summer
Yeah.
long, I keep Marty's stocked and 9 Main and like, the main entry
Mhm.
points to the community. I try to keep those stocked. But everybody who lives here got one. So we're really trying to reach the visitors, which is why we try to get them outside of town in their placement. So, yeah, it's a good idea. I wonder if I could find like a holder that could hold them, but that's wider. Oh yeah, I have a half pit, you can get those. I have some budget left for this year, maybe, the stand so that it would be like the postcards in the back and the passport in the front, and you could grab one or the other. So that they're just displayed together without actually inserting it.
Do you send these off to regional organizations? Like down in Fairfield County, or, I mean, you try visitors, but where are you getting the visitors from?
Right,
That's
so
what we
we
want to.
left it in our coffee shops with people who've already found us. Or like out and about, like in the Roxbury Market and the Warren General Store, Kent State Park has let us put it there before. Trying to think of who else, somebody had a connection in Woodbury, I forget what it was, like the flower show or something.
How about Northville, like Northville Market and stuff like that, or is that crazy? No?
It's not crazy,
Yeah.
It's not crazy, I
Well,
mean, yeah, that's
traffic.
for us, we print
Yeah,
extra
sure.
and it's for us to think about. The thing is, it's not the kind of thing where we print so many extra that we're putting them at like the welcome
Right.
stations on the highways or anything like that, cause I think you have to. The minimum requirement to participate in that is like 2,000 or
Yeah.
something, so we haven't hit that level yet.
Just, this is something I'm sure, I'm sorry, I should introduce myself.
I'm sorry, yes, we have guests today.
Right, I'm Marty Lindmar, I'm the first selectman in Kent, and we're looking at doing a economic development council, some kind of economic community development program. We have never really done one in Kent, we've kind of just let Kent speak for itself, but we've been watching Washington, as I told Michelle for years now, I've been watching Washington and seeing how well they're doing it. So I have finally had a chance to, Phil Fox, who's our chamber member, and from Warren, so we have a whole bunch of people here. We got talking and I gave a presentation at the beginning of May, just that we wanted to get going with this, with the chamber's help and others. So I'm over here sucking up as much information as I can get from all you guys.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are,
You have
as
to
always,
make stores.
trying to make as few of the problems and mistakes that you guys make and avoid them. But we really, it's gonna be a long road for us to get going, but I really have always admired and liked what you all do over here in the presentation and the community-wide involvement, but also the information circle of trust that you bring in, if you want to call it that. So that's what I was wondering, like, does the state have a place if you want to go to the Northwest, go to Washington, if they have a place on their state,
We're on CT
you want
visit,
CT visit as well?
definitely.
Nowhere in
And-
Litchfield
and-
Hills, that.
And
as well, but-
Discover, we're on and Discover, we have a good relationship with them as well,
Yeah.
so.
yeah, those are
Julia,
sort of things that we-
does the calendar feed to visit CT?
What we do with the calendar, because we don't put every event, well, there's no direct feed, so to answer that.
Okay.
But what we do, and I'll show you in the example coming up on the slides, the larger townwide events that we put on CT Visit, we post them on there. So Holiday in the Depot, the Harvest Festival, the block parties, the bigger events. We don't want to, what we don't want to do is overwhelm some of the smaller events that go on in town. So there's that balance, and I usually discuss it with Michelle. What do we put on CT Visit in terms of events? Like, we could potentially put everything on there, but it doesn't always make sense. And something that did come up with CT Visit, we manage for the town page, the big townwide events. We have our Instagram linked, so it automatically streams in. But it's really up to the owners of the businesses, the restaurants, and the cultural organizations to post their own information on CT Visit. And, you know, we've had, I think once we did an event with the Business Association in Washington to kind of teach people what they can do on their own to boost their marketing. So and this was a big discussion yesterday at the meeting. You know, as a town, we can't post if Hickory Stick is having a book reading because we're not Hickory Stick. And that makes sense. You know, it should be the owner that does that. But I am a big believer in educating the local businesses so that they know what they can do. Of course, the challenge is always time. And do they have the time to do that, to create an account and go on there? Some businesses do and some don't. The other thing I brought up with the tourism folks yesterday is it would be great if the town on our landing page, we could link to all the different itineraries we created, like the fall itinerary, the spring itinerary, the Gilmore Girls itinerary. So we're talking with them about ways to make that town landing page more robust, whether it's Kent or Washington or Woodbury, so that the small businesses get an extra boost without even having to put their events and their business on there. But ultimately, you know, the more exposure you get on CT Visit, the better. So and what they said yesterday, if you have just one place you can post your event, whether it's between the Patch or the Hamlet Hub, or post it on CT Visit, because I think they said last year they had over 9 million unique visitors on CT Visit. So that really that's where you want the attention to go.
As a civic entity, obviously you can't post, for example, Fran at the Hickory Stick, right? You can't do that, but the WBA could on behalf of Fran, correct? They could.
I don't think so. It's really, you have to be the business owner.
Okay.
So yeah, you have to be the business owner.
I was
But
just-
there, yeah. So we usually post the big events just so they're up there.
Right.
And we get inquiries like a year in advance for the Harvest Festival. So, you know, as soon as we book, that date is booked, we get that up there because we have people call from Florida. Recently, there was someone I told Michelle, she's like, we want to book our tickets for the Harvest Festival. Do you know what it is? So I said, let me call around. It was like a year in advance. So we figured it out and I wrote to her and she said, great, we're booking our tickets. So that's how important those events are to people, not just in the community, but travelers from other states. So, yeah. So,
Very good.
Michelle, do you want me to start the slides or?
You go ahead. Let's see what Julia has to share with us, because I think a lot of questions will be answered and then we can look at that. And I can also show you guys more after the meeting too. So go ahead. I think I made, yeah, your co-host. Go ahead.
Okay, good. Let me just start at the beginning. So basically I have two parts on the presentation. The first part is public relations and, you know, the articles. Let me just make this large. Hold 1 second. I'll spread it out in a sec. Okay. You all see that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So the last presentation we did was in November, but for the sake of comparison, what we did was 7 months, the April through, no, I'm sorry, we did October through April, so that we could compare it to the previous full presentation. It's kind of weird 7 months, but it works out this way to the dates that we present to you all. So as you mentioned, the postcard, and I don't even show the back. The back was the challenge. So one thing I did want to mention to your point of where around other towns you're distributing this, we do a big push online with this as well. So in addition to the events calendar, we usually do a blog post announcing the postcard, and we have a downloadable version of this. So we put it on the e-newsletter and on social media. So folks can actually download this and put it on their fridge or, you know, keep it handy. So we try to leverage any of the print material. Same with the newsletter that gets done quarterly that Kathy does. So we also put the newsletter on the website. So that way, you know, it lives in print, but it gets more visibility online. And then what we recently added, Michelle had an idea because we're getting so many press mentions. She thought it would be good to have a place on the website where, you know, someone could see all of these press mentions. So on the blog, we created an in the press section. And every time we see something come up in an article, in magazine, newspaper, YouTube, what we do is we add it to the in the press section so that when someone's exploring the website, they could see all that. And that works both for tourism and for the community. It's good for the community to see all of these mentions of the town. So that's something new since last time. Now, our press mentions are now almost all national, which is amazing. Since the last presentation, it's almost like we've taken off and we're getting a lot of inquiries from national magazines, which is thrilling. And they usually contact us directly through Explore Washington. And then what we do is we find out what the article is about, and then we send them a bunch of photos with photo credits, and we send them write-ups or whatever they need. So we someone called us from Country Living magazine, and they were going all around Litchfield County. So it wasn't just Washington, but that was a great feature. And this is like getting picked up by other magazines. So that's the beauty of these press mentions. So we put together like 50 photos for them. Of course, they didn't use them because they wound up going with some other photos they had. But I think it's terrific. And I love the idea of exploring all of Litchfield County, which we actually have on the Explore Washington website. We have a section for while you're here, and we mention attractions in other towns. So I think it all works well together. But yeah, so this was really exciting. And the cover of the magazine was Weekends in the Country, so it was totally appropriate. And then this column itself is called Small Town Saturday, where they go to different small towns and write about what you can do in the area. So this one was fun. They mentioned Hollister House, they mentioned Plain Goods, and of course a lot of other places in the area. So the photography is critical. Because if you have a great shot like that shot of Milton Market, you know, that's what they want. They want that very engaging sort of front of the store experience. Yeah. Let me just go one more. Okay, so then the other national magazine that contacted us was Afar. Oh, and I should mention up in the corner where it says 3.2 million. So they have 3.2 million followers on Instagram. Which is a pretty nice amount. And then Afar magazine, which is a really high-end travel magazine, they picked one town in every state, and they picked Washington. So this was really thrilling. And this one, and you could see this is a little part of the article here. This got picked up locally, it got picked up regionally, which is great because when you get in a national magazine like this, it just gives so much exposure. And it was thrilling. And again, they called us and they asked us for photos, and we create a drive for them, and we share photos with credits, and they go from there. So Cosmopolitan did a review of the Mayflower Inn for like baby moon or escape before you have a baby type of thing. So this is great because yeah, that's a big deal, right? So, but we love it because, you know, the Mayflower is such a destination on its own that the entire town usually gets mentioned in these articles as well, like while you're here, or this was where, you know, the Gilmore Girls was supposedly sort of conceived. So anytime the hotel gets a mention, it's great. And what we do is we take all of these and we put them on the website. So then we push them out again, we push them out on social media as well. And then House Beautiful. So this was a great feature. It was 30 of the best small towns in Connecticut, including the one that inspired Stars Hollow, which although multiple towns inspired it, usually they write in the first paragraph about Washington, and they always show the Mayflower. So they publish this, they have 3.3 million followers on Instagram.
I know,
in
right?
the Living magazine as a unique, yet another article.
Photos, but not-
That's quite a lot. Like, I don't think we'll ever have another 6-month period where we're featured in that many national magazines.
Yes. You never know.
I suppose, right?
And then this is another one with the Gilmore Girls, which we all know. Anyone who's been in these meetings before knows that this is a big deal. Yeah, so there it is. And then, so this was interesting. I get all the magazines and the old school print magazines. And I open it up and there was this gorgeous garden in Better Homes and Gardens. And I'm thinking, that looks like Hollister House. And it was. They actually put it like right in the inside, like the first spread in their table of contents. And they had a long article, a wonderful article about Hollister House. So we're like on fire now in Washington, right? Everybody wants to write about it. And then Fran's there, your 15 minutes of fame. The Channel 3 came to town. So that was exciting. And that was also based on the Most Charming Small Town story. So that got picked up and it was really great. They went to Hickory Stick and Hen's Nest and yeah, that was a lot of fun. I mean, we weren't involved. We saw it after the fact, which is exciting. All of a sudden this pops up. So again, these kind of things we definitely add on the website. So everyone in town also will do mentions on social media. So people who live in town know that this happened. And then again, CT Insider, someone sent us the article. They picked it up. So I guess is it Hearst? Yeah, so I think it was in around the state in the print version of the same story. And then I think, is this what you sent me today, Michelle? Yeah.
I think so, yeah. I
Yeah.
just found, looking for, Fran told me about something to look for, and I think I found this. It was from a couple weeks, like April, maybe.
Mhm. Yeah, so on all of these, I put the link on the bottom. So when I send you the PowerPoint and the PDF, you'll have access to all of these.
Great.
Yeah,
Thank
okay, so that for press, I didn't do every little thing, but I'll go through real quick. I'll go through CT Visit and the features we got on there. And this was the listening tour that Michelle mentioned. So the folks from the state went, the tourism department went to a bunch of different towns. So we attended as well, and Ola, who works with us, our marketing director, she went to one of the events. So it's really good to just, know what they're up to, like you said, Michelle, the hashtags, what their campaigns are coming up, and also just so we're on their radar. So their PR agency was there. So it's always good to stay in touch with them. And so on CT Visit, this is what the landing page looks like for Washington. So every season we update all the images on CT Visit. And I think that's probably why they always feature us, because we try to get in there as soon as possible to update, so that helps them when they do their tourism campaigns, is to have the fresh content up there and the fresh images. So this actually links to some of our top Instagram posts and photos. And then, as I mentioned, so they have on the landing page for Washington, they call it Can't Miss Events. And this is where they feed, well, it's not literally feed in, we add them here, so that once we have the save the date, we add the big events there.
Great.
And then this is the Litchfield Hills landing page on CT Visit. And what was really exciting is that, lately they've been featuring the town of Washington, but none of the other towns, like certain entities within the towns or venues they'll feature. But if you look at this, we have the Institute, I think you mentioned this earlier, Michelle, the Institute, the towns page, the Mayflower, and also the Gilmore Girls story that they have. So that's pretty exciting to get that many features on the landing page.
What's really nice about that is it's an attraction for all ages. Kids look at that, all the photos.
Yep,
Yeah, it's really, that's key.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, they do a phenomenal job, I have to say. I mean, with the limited budget they have, I think they mentioned like their budget, the state budget is so much smaller than some of the surrounding states. But they work really well and they look at the metrics and they see what works, and it's just amazing. And like they say, it's free. Like any business can post on here. They can post about their business. They could post about their specials, restaurants. It's really a free service to them. It's just not free in time, right? They have to make the time to do that. That's the only challenge. And then in the wintertime, they featured Steep Rock, the tunnel. So that was on there. And again, it's always about the images. They did a cute thing about holiday shopping and New Preston's and Washington. Both windows were featured. And then, so one of their campaigns recently was Escape from the City, and Washington was featured, you know, the hiking, the Hopkins Inn, GW Tavern, and then when you click on it, there were even more things featured, as well as other towns in the area. But it's always nice that they give a shout out. And then their new campaign was Make It Here. And I went through it and there were six things that featured Washington, including Palobolis, which, and I don't know, sometimes they're local, but usually they're like dancing around the world, but it's always nice to see that. And then this is the silo installation at Spring Hill. They use that for art. So yeah, so it's exciting to see all these features. And then for springtime, they do 37 things to do in Connecticut. Now, a lot of times they have the article and then they update it and they refresh it. So we got included in several parts of this article, and Mother's Day as well. So again, some of them are brand new, some of them they're rehashing previous articles and just refreshing them. And Michelle, you mentioned Discover Litchfield Hills. So when we do a story on Explore, we then post it on Discover Litchfield Hills, so that we're leveraging the content that we created, which takes time, you know, to write the stories, publish them, find the right images. So then what we do is we push it out there. So we're up to, we have 65 full articles on there now. So it takes a while, but it's worth it to have the content wherever we can get it that's appropriate. And then Litchfield County, the awards, every year when the magazine does the awards, we do a story about it and we list every business in town that won something in this. So again, it's just more exposure for the businesses. And then on social media, so I'll go right into social. So the beautiful aerial view of town, of the green at in the snow, that was done by Michael Bowman. And I can't remember, Michelle, was that part of the photo contest, or he may have sent that to us?
I think he may have said that the one that he submitted for the photo contest was fall, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we use this to announce that a FAR magazine selected Washington as the most charming town in Connecticut. And this got the most likes we've ever gotten on Instagram. It was 668 likes with comments. And the reach was almost 4,000, and that's organic. So that means that we didn't pay for any ads. It just took off. Everybody shared it. And of course, the gorgeous photo always helps, you know, a professional photo like that. And we always mention the photographer. And so we posted it on Instagram. It got, you know, not only all those likes, but 140 people shared it. So 140 people took the time to share this with their friends. And then I loved this comment on Facebook. So everybody wrote, you know, I love this town, I miss this town. But this person wrote, it almost looks AI generated. It's so perfect. Another place added to my bucket list. So I thought that was a pretty cool quote.
Traveler coming through. Nice.
And then the demographics, you know, pretty much I think that they're steady. This is from Instagram. You know, between 25 to 34, almost 20%. 35 to 44, 28, over 28%. And then, so it's like a really nice range of ages who are engaged with our social media pages. New York is actually top location, even more so than Washington, which is kind of funny. But it's either folks who have their summer home or people who are planning a trip, or people who live in both places. So, and then some surrounding towns next, but this is interesting to see the reach. And then the engagement on social media. So on Instagram, we have 4,700 followers. So in the last 7 months, it went up 269. And then people sharing their post, hashtag Explore Washington CT, over 15,000, almost 16,000 actually share and tag their posts. So whether they're businesses or arts venues, or just people who are traveling in town and they know that that's our hashtag. So that has really been very popular to have that. So people explore and they use Instagram sort of as a search engine, a visual search engine. So if they see that hashtag and they click on it, what happens is all these pictures come up, you know, not just our photos, but other people's photos. So it's a great visual sort of advertisement, a free advertisement for the town. And then Facebook, we still post everything on Facebook, although lately Instagram has a lot more traction than Facebook, especially for tourism. And then MailChimp, we have 2,700 subscribers, and the open rate is, it goes between like 53 to 58%, depending on the time of the year, open rate. And the industry average for tourism is 32. So we always are high in terms of the open rate. People really want to see the e-news, and then we do it every month. So it's called This Month in Washington, and we try to send it either before the 1st or on the 1st. Okay, so I just did a few big picture, broad brush slides. The page views increased by 4% since the previous period. So you could see this zigzag. Basically, this peak, I believe that was the Harvest Festival in October. And then, of course, every month there's a peak when we send out the e-news, and, you know, we can go into this more. But yeah, so constant growth on the website visits. And then, so this is an interesting number. So I think I used this slide last time too. The month of October, because we started this metrics run in October, it had the largest number of page views we've ever had in a month. So it was a combination of the Harvest Festival, the Gilmore Girls, because that top bar, you see that long bar, that's Plan Your Visit, Explore. That was the Gilmore Girls itinerary. So yeah, they keep giving. And then the homepage, then the Harvest Festival, then featured events and things to do. So like all the things you want people to look at when they're exploring to plan a visit are the top things that they're looking at. So this was just 1 month, just to show you one of the very popular months. And then this here, what I tried to do is label a few things for you. So the organic search, that means people searched something and came to the website. So say they searched Stars Hollow or what to do this weekend in Litchfield County, or, you know, it's very hard to see the search terms now, the way Google Analytics works, but we can sort of work back and see what articles were popular to figure out where people are going. So the top line is organic. So the reason why it's peaking like that is, you know, Harvest Festival, the fall foliage, Gilmore Girls, Holiday in the Depot. So that top crazy line is like, what are people searching and how are they finding the site? And then the blue line below that with all the monthly peaks, that is direct. So that means they're clicking on something on the e-newsletter at the beginning of every month and coming to the site. or typing in the name of the site and getting to it. But organic is really the healthy way to get traffic because people are finding what they're looking for and discovering the website and the town. And then this is just a similar pie chart. It was 76, 77% organic. And then the favorite of everyone is like, what pages are they looking at? So Gilmore Girls, that main itinerary had the most views ever, almost 32,000 views. That's 23,000 unique people clicking on that. So that's a lot of people interested. And then the homepage, then the events, things to do, another Gilmore Girls, but eat and drink is up, you know, that's pretty high, which is good. That's where we have all our restaurants and cafes and shopping and the Mayflower and places to stay. The community calendar also is popular. That's like the day-to-day events that we still maintain. And then again, this is so that from October to April. So there's the Gilmore Girls. Yeah, so it really shows like what months they're going to those itineraries. Usually, you know, it's strong in the summer and then the fall comes and it's like everybody wants to come visit. So, and then I also did a capture of the top 25 pages because Michelle, I thought you might want to look through that and see where people are clicking on the site. And you'll see that the restaurant week event is even in the top 25. So that was pretty good because that was the first year for the restaurant event. So
Yeah.
we promoted that within the e-newsletter and the social, and we did a blog post about that.
Great.
And then what terms people are searching. So we were able to use another tool to see what people are searching. So you can see Stars Hollow, can you visit Stars Hollow, you know, and then all the things you'd expect.
We get so many visitors.
It looks like you really get some boost with an event-oriented situation that just kicks it up in overdrive
Yeah,
with those photos that you have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the photos are huge and
They're
the
huge.
ones that get the most are the townwide events. Those are the ones that are co-hosted with the WBA, EDC, Parks and Rec. You know, that's the Harvest Fest, the Holiday in the Depot. We'll see how the Black Party, we'll see what kind of traffic we get for that one. That's the summer. That one's a little more local, but.
Right. But yeah, and hopefully this summer's weather will be better because last summer was terrible. Every time we were like having to post canceled or postponed, it was just heartbreaking because everyone puts so much effort into planning their events. So hopefully this year will be better. And yeah, so that's again the Harvest Festival. So last time we did a $50 ad. I think we did it on Instagram and Facebook. And it went, and we did a little video and it got 47, just organic, just without paying, the video got 4,700 watches. So, you know, if you just like put some effort into planning, into promoting an event, it's amazing how much reach you can get with online, you know, social tactics. And I think it was over 2,500 attendees, so it was the biggest one ever. And then this is the last slide. So I'm putting this here because Michelle will know why. I think we need a gazebo in town. So this is just a subliminal message to everyone that
Subliminal, like not so subliminal. Yeah, I know. And Liz, you had mentioned the garden club. It's still on my radar. We'll
Okay.
see. I would love to put one somewhere.
yeah. And just think about all of the visitors who will stay in town and they may do an overnight, you know, because they could do all their selfies right there in one place, right? Not that we don't love our towns in the area. We love all our towns in the area. But I just think a gazebo would be amazing, you know, and not only for visitors, but, you know, to the community. It's just such a charming thing to have at the center of the depot. But we'll see.
With a little picnic table,
a
people
little
have lunch.
concerts there.
Yeah, concerts, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's
And if you
definitely.
need the benches, the the hoop arm benches, we actually work with Kenneth Lynch and Sons. They're a client of ours and they are the manufacturer of the Central Park benches. But that bench with the hoop arms, which is called the World's Fair bench. And I think they actually were in the Gilmore Girls on the set. And they're right in Oxford, so. they're a
Sorry,
local
I'm
company.
sorry, I had it blocked on my screen. Okay. Oh, those are really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, those are the hoop arm benches.
they're
Yeah,
like Central Park type benches.
that's what she just
Yeah.
said, yeah.
Yeah.
They're really-
Cool. Nice.
They're really nice.
So that's just and it would be great for the garden club to be able to like seasonally decorate it. It would look amazing. So that's so just a quick recap, what we've completed, what we're working on now. And I forgot to add, there was one other thing. We're working on the small guide to Washington, the print guide. So I have to add that.
Yeah. We're gonna do it.
And yeah.
An update. When
Yeah,
did we print that one? Do you remember? I could look back.
I can check. I'll have to
I
check.
think it's been 2 years though, I feel
2
like.
years ago.
Yeah.
So a little.
And we're working on one more story that I don't think we've done yet, which is weddings in Washington. Because we think that would be like a great topic for June. So that will be, listing and writing about some of the venues. We're calling a lot of the restaurants to see if they cater and some of the venues and the churches, a list of all the churches in town. So we think that'll get a lot of traction for people planning their weddings. Or sometimes they get engaged in town. So, we'll make sure we have all those keywords in there.
Awesome.
All right, I'll stop.
I guess you watch the barbecue whenever that show, there's a lot of great old cars there.
That's true. The barbecue,
Really?
that's a fall one,
Oh,
right?
yeah, that's a great
Another
show.
fall event.
Yeah.
We're chock full of stuff in the fall. Thank you. Does anyone have questions for Julia? We know that our Explore website just continues to grow and the outreach. I think I really feel that the national recognition that we're getting now is it's like the fruits of the years of labor before, of the growing getting those first 500 Instagram followers and then getting beyond that. So then other people found us and then shared, because the reporters, when they're doing these articles, right, they only have so much time to go and find cases. So somehow we're landing in their inbox or on their Instagram, or we're getting in front of their eyes, and it's because we've just been building this following and outreach and impact. So I think I don't know that this is the culmination, but it's certainly to have, what was it, like 6 national magazines within the 6 months.
How many years has that been from when you started it to where it is now? Well, yeah, the whole program. Just curious.
Was it 2018?
Fran, do you remember? I think it was 7 years. Is it 7 years? 2017? I can check. I should know that off the top of my head.
Something like that.
I
Yeah.
have all of the metric reports on our EDC website, so we can go back and look. The very first one you guys did was there. It was the launch one. So we can go back and look at that. I actually forgot. But yeah, it takes a while. You can't just like throw up a website and hope that people find it. It takes a while to have people find it. So, thank you. Thank you, Julie. No questions?
Of course.
Thank God, Julia.
Not a question, but a great presentation. Thank you, Julia.
Thank you. The bar is raised. Next time I'm gonna have to get, like the New York Times back.
Great work. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We'll be in touch on that on the guidebook update. Trying to figure out where we are with that.
Great.
That's okay. That's okay. We can touch base.
Yeah, we definitely will.
Yeah.
Touch base. But thank you all for letting me sit in, and it's very informative, and I do congratulate you, as I tell Jim all the time. Yeah, you're almost up to Kent's standards.
Oh. You can't
Just-
get away with that here.
Kent throw it in there. Kent throw it in there.
You're welcome, no, you see, it's good to meet
Everybody,
you.
I'll catch up with you soon.
So it's already 4 o'clock. I have the restaurant week results, I'm kind of wondering if I should, I have a little PowerPoint that I can either share with you, or we could wait till next month. I don't know, how is everyone feeling? Should we take a quick look? I'm trying, we don't usually have a whole lot of other business in the summer per se, but. What do you think? Quick run through? Maybe, alright. I'm not hearing anything, so I'll just do a quick. Do you see my screen here? Julia, which,
Yes.
I always have a hard time figuring out which mode to go on and still run the Zoom.
Yes, that one. Yeah, the slideshow. That should do it.
Alright, oh yeah, and I still do have my Zoom controls at top, okay. So Restaurant Week 2024, which was our first one. Here's some comments that we received. Just for a little background, we had originally 14 participating restaurants, which is everyone plus the Hopkins and the Vineyard. We dropped down to 13 because Crit at Inari got sick. He was hospitalized. They weren't even open. So we had 13 restaurants, and 12 of them completed the survey that I'm going to share with you. So that is, that's, I think, for a survey, amazing. That's almost 100%. So that was great. And we had some really good feedback. Blaine sold out of flatbreads. He underestimated the outreach. So these are the stats from the Litchfield.co website, which hosted all of the menus and the events happening. And I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this. We can kind of dive into it, but it's interesting kind of to see who was visiting, and we
Yeah.
cannot figure out the Virginia thing.
I'm looking at that.
Yeah, right, it's so random to me. All that we could figure out is that maybe there's like a data hub there and that a lot of traffic was being fed through there. I have no idea. I don't know what
Where,
that.
Michelle? Sorry, I'm only seeing the cover slide. So.
Oh, you're
are
not, you guys
looking-
aren't seeing the,
I just see the cover, the
Yeah,
top
okay.
one. I think you
Well,
just to click again on slideshow maybe,
yeah, weird, because
or
we're
scroll
seeing
down.
my screen, let me stop the share. We were seeing the presentation mode here.
Oh.
For some reason, you were not there, so.
I only saw the cover
This-
slide.
Okay, sorry, let me try sharing. This is the problem I have with running the Zoom.
You
And,
can just click on you could just click down on the second slide instead of doing presentation mode, because maybe for some
I'll
reason
do
it's
that.
not
So
working.
it'll be smaller, it won't be your whole screen, but I'll just,
You could probably drag the notes down,
Yeah.
drag that notes line down. You can,
oh,
Okay.
yeah, maybe it'll make it
yeah,
bigger.
make it bigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Really.
that's a little bit bigger. So here were some of the comments that I was talking about. I'm so sorry if you guys couldn't see it.
Zoom the bar at the bottom there, the
Zoom
zoom
this
bar.
one in,
Yeah, try and zoom that.
Okay. bigger,
There you go.
bigger. That's
And
bigger
then
than my
click
screen.
and- Yeah, there you go.
Alright, those were the comments I was talking about. Here are the visitors to the website that I was talking about. So Connecticut and New York is what we would expect, but Virginia. 14%, like it just seems really random. We have no explanation for that. I don't
Is there any
know.
way to trace it back to how that, in other words, find out where the source is?
I don't know, cause this is, I think, Google, is it Google? And I'm not actually sure.
Oh.
You know, how
huge
granular you can get on that search, but it's just interesting to see the outreach that happened. here was the engagement on the Facebook and Instagram posts. And the boosted ones too. So the boosted ones were, reached more people, but we actually reached quite a few, just organically before we even boosted the posts. And we had some videos, though he was on channel 3 on the news being interviewed. So we had some interviews, and I guess the videos usually had a little more engagement than just the, static pictures. Here's the stuff that I think for the EDC is really important. I mean, because we can work on the promotion and we can dive into those numbers. But, the big overarching questions, was it successful? Did it meet the expectations of the restaurants? So 67% of the restaurants said it met or exceeded their expectations. So that's good. Just so you know, each restaurant, because there were 12 responding, each one is 8%. So the one person said it did not meet their expectations. A couple said they had no expectations, and most said it exceeded or met their expectations. So that was good. This was the increase in revenue, and this was really exciting to me. 42% said they saw an increase of 10 to 20%, and then one was 20 to 30%, and one was 30 to 40%. So a pretty market increase in their revenue, and they were comparing those. I think it was 9 days, it was 2 weekends in the week. Those days over those exact same days last year, making sure that they captured 2 weekends during that time. So we really specified that. So they saw an increase in revenue, and they saw an increase in traffic, which is also exciting. That's the point of, trying to bring people in and give them a reason to come out. This is the other thing that I'm very excited about. 92% said that they had new customers. So they saw people coming from out of town, and hopefully they'll come
Get
back.
a lot of exposure.
Yeah, so that's the goal of a restaurant
That's
week,
huge.
it's exciting and fun for those of us who live here and eat in our restaurants all the time anyway. But really nice to have some new faces, and hopefully they will come back. So that was exciting. A little confusion, people were kind of, yes, maybe on the whole, where food and the arts meet. It was we were a little behind the 8 ball on really melding the arts component to it. It worked well in a couple places, and in other places not as much. So that's something the Arts Council is gonna talk about. The restaurants saw increased traffic. Tying in the arts, trying to give people a reason to come spend the whole day. We weren't always successful on that, and we'll work on, we were gonna have an opening to the week. The Arts Council was gonna host an opening, and it didn't quite get that together. So we were able to highlight a lot of different arts events happening, concerts, art openings, galleries, and hopefully they saw more people as well. They went to dinner and went to the opening. So hopefully, we didn't survey them to see if they saw an increase. So 84% said that they would want to do it again. 2 people were undecided, and nobody said no. So we're gonna do it again, I would think.
You probably get more people too, because the word will get around.
Well, right, like there's a learning curve, and I think we learned some things about this. We learned, first of all, we had a recap meeting a week or 2 ago, the organizing committee, which was myself, the Arts Council, and the WBA, working with Michael, who is the Litchfield.co guy. And we already have dates that we want to propose. I was gonna talk to the EDC, we were gonna check in with the WBA, but just to get our dates sooner so that we can get that out there, so restaurants have more time to plan, so that the arts venues have more time to plan. So because they're booking artists and their openings months in advance. So if we get the dates to them sooner, then they can maybe try to tag in all, things that they wanted to do anyway. Be like, oh, but that's, the beginning of restaurant week. Let's try to.
I think it's in sync.
Yep. So I think that will help. So some overall comments, glad your team reached out, we will do this again. Overall better than anticipated. I have to say, in reading these comments, we did tell people that we would keep them anonymous. But we had glowing positive comments from the Mayflower, from GW's and the Owl, so. Some big restaurants that were thrilled. I mean, the fact that the Mayflower was thrilled to participate in this townwide event, I thought was really exciting, and they felt it was hugely successful. So I was glad that they were compelled to participate as well. So that was encouraging to me. So I'm gonna stop sharing since this is awkward on my screen. Sorry, I'll have to figure out how to do that better. Does anyone have questions about the restaurant week and the feedback?
So all in all, you definitely would say do it again.
I
next
would
year.
say it was a success. The restaurants wanted to do it again. The only, two were kind of like on the fence. And I feel like if we give them a longer lead time. And now that they've done it once, it'll be easier. We looked at the calendar and are proposing April 4th to the 13th next year. It's a little earlier than this year. But not into March. So the things we were trying to schedule around, it is before Easter. So it does not hit into the Easter, it does not hit into the spring break, the private school spring breaks, which happen in March. The public school Region 12 spring break is April 14 to the 18th, so the following week. Passover is within that part, but we felt that it's pretty hard to avoid everything, and that didn't seem that it would interfere too much with the restaurant week. So unless we hear otherwise, we're gonna float those dates to see what people think. And then go ahead and just plan it so that people can start planning for the future. So any thoughts on those dates?
Are you gonna float that out to the restaurant and?
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
their
we'll check in with the WBA. Well, actually, we'll just it's not that many restaurants, so we'll just put it out there and just get their feedback as well. All right. So without questions on that, we've got reports of the WBA and the selectmen. Fran, I'm gonna let you weigh in on the WBA. One thing I forgot to talk about though, and will happen before our next meeting, is the block party. And we spoke at our last joint meeting, the EDC and the WBA are gonna have a table together at the block party at sort of the entrance to the plaza, where people can come and get information about the block party, and that's where we usually set up to collect people's emails, distribute newsletters, just make sure people know what's going on and touch base with people. So anybody who can help that night would be great. That's June 7th. I will definitely be there. It's 5:30 to 8 is the time, and if somebody would like to join at the EDC table, that would be really helpful. The Arts Council will also be setting up over on the other side of the depot, over near the pantry, with some art events. So lots happening. Have more to add to that, Fran?
Not necessarily in terms of the block party. I certainly hope everyone will be there because it should be a really fun event, but it is rain or shine this year. Last year it had to be canceled because of thunderstorms. Threat of thunderstorm, canceled, renewed, then finally turned off because of a big thunderstorm. The only other thing in terms of the WBA is we had a great social at the Gun Memorial Library last Wednesday. I'm not sure, I'd say about 35 people were there, and a lot of new faces, so that it was fun to meet new people and get a chance to talk to others.
Great. Yep, and we have been talking about the passport or the guidebook, whichever one you want to call it. We'll continue to keep the EDC appraised of that, but we want to do an update. We're running out. That's why we're talking about it. I have a couple hundred left in my office, which I expect to blow through this summer. We did get some back from one of the realtors who had some extra on hand. So, yeah, I want to make sure as I'm distributing the postcard around town, I'll be making sure people are stocked for the season, with the guidebook. Is there any other reports or questions? I'm sorry, it looks like Jim must have been called away. So we'll just hold on to those minutes until next time. Good thing we didn't have to vote on any money today. Any other questions or comments before we close? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Sure.
Ready, thank you. At 4:20, I'm assuming we're all in favor. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. We'll be in touch, everybody.
Thank
Enjoy this warm week.
Thanks, Michelle. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
All in touch. Thanks.